Hello, I'm your awesome tutor. Today we're going to be looking at bacterial resistance. First of all, how do the bacteria get their resistance? And what do we mean by resistance? The bacteria, they become resistant to antibiotics. That's the main thing. And they have a natural mutation. Some bacteria in the population, they have a natural mutation which makes them resistant to the antibiotics. What is the mutation again? It is a change in the genetic material. And this change in genetic material, this mutation which they have, that allows genetic variation in the population, is completely random. The mutation happens by chance. And by a process of natural selection, they produce new strains of resistant bacteria. And now we're going to go on to how the resistance to antibiotics increases. Okay, so here we have our first population. The blue circles are bacteria that are not resistant to the first antibiotic, and the green triangles are the bacteria that are resistant to it. So here is where we apply our first antibiotic. Let's call it antibiotic 1. Okay, so when we apply antibiotic 1, all the normal bacteria that do not have the gene that make them resistant to the antibiotic, they will die. But the two triangle bacteria, the bacteria that have the gene, that have the natural mutation that allows them to be resistant to this antibiotic, they will survive. And after they have survived, they now have more chance to reproduce more. And so they will produce new strains of resistant bacteria. Now we have a new population of all this bacteria that is resistant to antibiotic 1. And so, as I said, they reproduce. And say we have them again, the same population. But this time we have bacteria in that population which will be resistant to another antibiotic. They have another natural mutation. So again we have a population. Here we apply antibiotic 2. And so the bacteria that survive antibiotic 2 will be resistant to antibiotic 1 and antibiotic 2, because this population is the same as this one. We're just applying another antibiotic. So the normal bacteria will die. The antibiotic will kill them. But the bacteria that have the natural mutation which makes them resistant to it, they will survive. And again, they will reproduce more because they have more chance to reproduce. And they will produce a whole new population which is resistant to this antibiotic as well as resistant to this one. And so, if we keep applying more and more antibiotics, and there is a few population of resistant bacteria, they will produce new strains of more resistant bacteria by natural selection. And that is going to be a big problem. So now I'm going to talk about how we can prevent the development of these resistant bacteria. Okay, so how do you prevent the development of more resistant strains of bacteria? First of all, we have to talk about the use of antibiotics. We should never overuse antibiotics. If we overuse them, as shown in the diagram I showed you before, if we overuse more and more antibiotics, the population of more resistant bacteria will increase. So do not overuse antibiotics and only use them when needed, when necessary. For example, do not use them for viral diseases. Not use them for diseases caused by viruses. Because why? Because viruses reproduce inside your cells. So the antibiotics will not affect them. The antibiotics only treat bacterial diseases. So do not use them for viral diseases. Also, what else could you talk about? Do not use them for mild or minor diseases, like say a minor cold that you do not need to use a lot of antibiotics for. Now, hospitals. The main thing is wash your hands. The main thing that this applies to is doctors. Doctors should wash their hands between patients because this removes the bacteria and any other pathogen. But remember, washing your hands does not necessarily destroy the pathogen, but it does remove it. They should wash their hands with soap, water, or even alcohol to get rid of the pathogens. And this idea was actually implemented by Semmelweis. And yeah, that's basically it. Now I'm going to talk about just one more thing, pandemics and epidemics. Okay, so both epidemic and pandemic, their meaning has something to do with the mass spread of disease. When there are more cases of a particular disease than expected. But pandemic usually refers to several or more than one country, more than one area. But epidemic usually refers to one area or one country. So epidemic, the mass spread of disease in one area or one country, when there are more cases of that disease than expected. And pandemic, mass spread of disease in several countries or in several areas when there are more cases of the disease than expected. That's it for bacterial resistance. If you don't understand, go back, rewind, and watch it again. Or watch particular parts, okay? That's it. Bye.